If I had my way, and if I had my say, there would be no more troubles in the world today. And if I could have one little child on drugs today, oh Lord, that will be my prayer. I trust in the Lord, and I pray every day. I know He will always answer in His own ways. And if I could have one little child who's gone astray, oh Lord, that will be my please hear my prayer. Oh Lord, Lord, I pray and save the world from its sinful ways. People are dying all over the world every day. Lord, let thee help. That will be my if I had my way, and if I had my say, there would be no more killing wars, fighting disease like AIDS, drugs, people killing them, people all over the world. And if I could make all the world happy again, oh Lord, that will be my
Okay, I just want to welcome everybody. We were just treated. This is our guest gospel singer and leader, Tony Lorenzo. Tony, please tell us more about what we just saw.
Good evening, good afternoon, Alfred and Gary. Thank you very much for having me. It's wonderful to be here. That was actually 2009, the Golden Gate, the legendary Golden Gate Quartet. Originally from 1934, it started, and they have been around almost 100 years. That was Clyde Wright, who is still living with the tender age of 94. Unfortunately, he's in a home. He has dementia and Alzheimer, but he's still alive, 95 years old. And I had the pleasure of working with these gentlemen for 10 years, and Gospel Hall of Fame, everything. It's just incredible. So the Golden Gate Quartet. It was a beautiful song written by Clyde Wright called "My Pay," because an artist, when he makes people happy through music, that's how he pays his dues. Thank you.
Sure. Well, Gary Peter Carlson has been a longtime guest of ours, and so you and he have been interacting, and Gary asked to come on with you, and both at the soul level and I guess at the actual geostrategic level. And I guess both Gary and Tony, could you share with us what sort of message you're bringing and why you're here? And Gary, what kind of work you've been doing with Tony and what you've been finding? I mean, this is a very unusual time. The message was no more war. And here we're at a time where the artificial intelligence timeline, where the dark forces are, creating as much war as they can. So over to you.
First, let me say that I did a soul report for Tony, is how we met. And I get a reading that he's a star seed. I kind of look at it, he's in between a 3 and a 3.5. So I gave him a star seed 3 1/4. And he's here to launch his way of helping humanity, and we're here to work with him. Go ahead, Tony.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to thank you, Gary, for that, and at the same time say, Gary kind of like cracked my back, in a figure of speech, because I always I thought myself as a light warrior, fighting for this search for light and enlightenment and understanding. And he kind of snapped my back, and I realized, no, what I'm a star seed, and star seeds come to the earth to ascend. And I have now 5 years. You see, at the end of the day, this whole conversation is going to be the three of us, like Gabriel announcing to the world, Ascension is coming. People get ready. There's a train coming. You don't need no ticket. Just get on board. Are you ready? So here we go. I started out in the university studying music, wasn't quite ripe to go into the business, joined the military, saw the world, stayed in Germany. Okay, finished. That's the whole story. But then I started with gospel music, and I worked with the Robert Jackson singers for 10 years with super success all over Europe. And Robert died after 10 years, and I left. Okay, so no, I need a change. Phone rings, the legendary Golden Gate Quartet calls from Paris. Hey, we're looking for a bass, should be American. Yeah, that's me. I've got a bass for you. I got some bass. Maybe you might go back and listen to those deep notes in that song. It's really kind of deep stuff. So anyway, I joined the Golden Gate Quartet, and work with these gentlemen, and it was really a pleasure. It was 5 stars. It was a 5-star gig. We were always first class and super places. Went to the Caribbean, flew over with France Air to the Guadeloupe and Martinique. And but you know, when I was in college, my second semester, I had a spiritual experience and I met Jesus Christ. And then all of a sudden, boom, I had this kind of LSD experience, you know, and it was pretty euphoric. I guess my third eye opened. So it's 1976 is where my journey really started. So in other words, as a hobby, I've been 50 years looking in the books, listening to the people, observing everything I could about this energy that's in the universe, that's around us. So now it's 50 years later, and the last 20 have been bombastic because the truther movement really took a big jump. I'm talking 2010, 2012. Of course, my big change was Brian Grattan and the Mahatma vibration. The harmonic convergence happened in 1987. And this event brought the cosmic heart to the earth, which brought harmony to us. It brought harmony. And then you could see more athletes were breaking records. The wall went down around that time, the 90s in Germany, and North Korea started talks. Maybe harmony was moving. And then, of course, there were a couple of small skirmishes in between. But finally, I realized that, you know, if you don't, I'm waiting to be awakened. I'm waiting on the universe to say, you're ready. And then finally, because of COVID, you sit around 2 years in your place and you wonder, you know, and then boom, it just hits you. Go viral, man. If you don't go viral, and you should go viral for your people, the people that want to listen to you. As a gospel singer, I always wanted to know why I believe, why I sing gospel. But at the same time, I acquired a lot of information about everything. I mean, everything everybody's talking about, I studied 20 years ago. It's like, wow, are the people that late? You see, I already had this. I had all the conspiracy theories, but as a musician, it's for me a chance to use that music as a platform to reach out to Black people. Because if a Black person doesn't like this song, then he doesn't like me, and I got no time for it, you know? And I think that's a good place to start, because I've got 50 years under my belt, and I always thought to myself, don't ask anybody, go on your own, because if you're wrong, then you can only be mad at yourself. So I'm happy where I'm at. I'm at peace. I found peace. I found deep peace. I know something about the life force, who we all call God or all that is, or source, but it's just that thing that you don't know. That's the highest. It's the highest. There's nothing higher than that. Wherever that is, it's right here. Of course, when you think about it, it's gone. When you don't think about it, it's right on top of you. That's the paradox and the mystery of it. You know, I am the lotus, not the muddy water. So over to you, please.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we're basically all here to help humanity. And my part, as you know, has to do with souls. I mostly do soul reports and spiritual facts. And I guess this is like my 49th video or something like that. I don't make my own, so I don't get that many in. But I hear a lot of people are working on all different issues to try to help humanity. You know, one group wants to stop chemtrails. Another group wants to stop EMF radiation, cell phones, saying it's killing all the animals and the insects are missing and on. And another group is with the economy, the dollar's crashing, there's high inflation, changes got to be made to do this or that. And some people are saying we got to vote these other people in. And it goes on and on. But my message is none of those things can change until we get this evil group of people out of power. There's a group of people that are ruling this planet that aren't human. They're disguised as us. They're in human bodies with human DNA, but they don't have human souls. They have reptilian souls that don't have empathy for others like our souls do. And if we can get them out of power, then all those issues will change for the good. You know, chemtrails will stop. We can bring in new technology to replace cell phones. Or we can adjust the banking, and all those things will be corrected. And in order to get these people out of power, basically the people just below them, you know, the military has to be convinced to take them out of power. So the people's gotta cause the military to take them out of power. And I think if you identify and expose these people, I'm told if you look at their aura, it's different than ours, and you can expose all these people and arrest and jail them. So I think people should concentrate on exposing this group of people. I think there's maybe 600,000 of them, and maybe 7,000 in leadership positions. If you take these 7,000 out, they pretty much lose their power. And supposedly a lot of them are being arrested and they put in replacements because they control the media. I think there's, what I'm told is 88% of them have draconian souls and 12% have lizard souls. They both have souls without empathy for others in the reptilian line or whatever. And the draconians, if you went on a scale from 0 to 100, and 100 being the most evil and 0 being the least evil, I'm told the draconians are about at 98. They're super evil, planning on mass murdering. They want to own and control everything. And then there's 12% of them have lizard souls. And on that same scale, their rating would be about 50. So they more or less want to control things and own things too. But they don't want to kill everybody or make everybody suffer, and they're willing to release new technology and make some improvements for humanity and make it better as long as they stay in control. And I think there's a Trump group of lizards and with some draconian followers as well. So basically, they want to take out this 7,000 group and replace it with all their people that aren't as evil and have a different plan, and will release new technologies and stuff. And they'll keep a lot of these lower level people that are running the banking, the religions, the medical, and corporations, and I could name about 10 things they control or run, education. And they'll probably, a lot of them will stay in power if they adjust what they're doing and follow what the Trump group wants. And I'm here to expose them and try to get other people to join me, to expose them and get the military to rise up and take them out of power. If the Trump group has to take over power first and improve things for humanity, that'll be better than it is. And then later they can be taken out, maybe by when we have what I call planetary ascensions. Tony was talking about ascension. But what it really is there's two ascensions. The planetary ascension is really solar system ascension. But our solar system, I get, is in the third density, fourth dimension. A lot of people claim third dimension, but they don't know or understand what the fourth dimension is. And what the fourth dimension is a component of consciousness. When you go from third dimension to fourth dimension, you have more of an open channel to source and the higher spirits to help you. And so we're in the fourth dimension, and a solar system can either be in the third density or fourth density. It can't be in both, but all solar systems are in the fifth through ninth densities. So there's really like six different levels that it can be at. There's 7 levels, you know, but you can only be at 1 or 2, not both. And then 3 through 7, every solar system's at that. So we're going to advance to the fourth density, fifth dimension, and it'll happen supposedly almost instantly. People claim there's going to be a big sunburst of beam of the sun will light up or something like that, and maybe shower some kind of particles at us or something. And we'll go from third density to fourth density. And fourth density contains the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, 10 dimensions. So there's 6 different dimensions in the fourth density. And we, of course, would start at the lowest one, the 5th dimension. And the 5th dimension is a component of time, I'm told. I don't really understand how time's going to be different, but it supposedly will be, and noticeably. I was even told that if you went there and experienced it and you came back, you'd have trouble explaining it. I don't think you'll be able to dry your clothes before you wash them, but there might be some other aspect of it that's interesting and enhances our lives. And every matter in life is supposedly be 15% different or more advanced. The things you touch and hold and look at will be a little bit different. Supposedly the matter will be more crystalline. I don't really clearly understand what that means, but we'll see it when it comes. And life will be 15% more advanced. We'll still have bodies that eat and breathe and talk and the same things. We might be slightly taller and slightly skinnier. I'm told that will be less athletic. We could still have the major sports like soccer, football, basketball, golf, and all that, but the people's performance in it will be a little bit lessened. So everybody will go with that. So it'll be an improvement when we get there. And now the second kind of ascension is individual ascension. And in order to make individual ascension, you have to have lived one cycle in third or fourth density or some of both. And then you advance to the fifth density. And the fifth density is dimensions 11 through 14. I don't know exactly what each dimension is, but it can be a component of consciousness or energy, or maybe something else I haven't thought of. But on Earth, it's the 12th dimension. And when I do soul reports for star seeds, I get a little information on their planet, although I can't get the name. But I can get the size, the population, and how many light years away, and what dimension it's in. Star seeds that I do soul reports for are in the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th dimensions. When you get to the 9th and 10th dimension, apparently you no longer need to be a star seed. You can probably make Ascension as soon as you qualify for it, or something. Something's a little different. And I can get star seeds that are from the 3rd density as well. I think I've only got one of those. Most of them are from the 7th or 8th dimensions. Anyway, what have you got for us, Alfred?
Well, first of all, I have a series of follow-on questions for Tony. And so first, though, on our way there, I'm going to follow up with you, and we're going to share screen, because this is a question that a friend of mine who's Russian sent me. And in Russia, there's a lot of, I mean, the amount of information that's going back and forth, you can imagine now, at various levels is huge, just as there is everyone else. So I'm going to share screen and go to this. Can you all see that
Yes.
image?
Yes, it's coming in very clear.
Okay, so she sent this image, and this is from a Russian video, and the sum and substance of it there is as follows: that the real Putin was ritually murdered some time back, and his blood was drained, his genes were taken, and a new kind of creature created. And into that creature, a very sort of evil creature was put in there. And she said, and in this video there appears, that's an old painting from the Verona Cathedral in Italy, saying that, let me get the chat, because I translated it from the Russia, the Russian in the video. That's a prophecy, the picture of the death of Satan Putin, a picture about the unclean, a doomsday story, the queen of the apocalypse. In other words, I guess that they're trying to say that figure in this medieval painting looks like Putin, right?
Yeah.
So they're saying that that's the Putin. And I always wondered why it is that, and this is kind of the context to the question that I'm going to ask you, why it is that the Russians call their intercontinental nation, their nation destroyers, they call them Satan rockets. I mean, for
nuclear bombs are called Satan.
What? Yeah.
Nuclear weapons, some of their nuclear weapons were named Satan.
Yeah, Satan. I
What
mean,
they do is so evil, it makes.
yeah. It's just, it's kind of, it's kind of mind blowing. And so I'm just going to share some thoughts here, and then I'll ask you your question. And over the past several days, there was one public threat that was uttered to the UK in response to what Boris Johnson said, that said that in 600 seconds, they could unleash the Satans that would go over and obliterate the UK with nuclear weapons and sink it under the sea and obliterate the UK. And, a lot of us has very close ties with the UK. I mean, at the right before that, just a few days before that, some very dear friends of ours from Yorkshire had come over to visit, I mean, and this just brings up the interconnectedness of all things, and how much, sure, there's a lot of knowledge that the UK crown and the Queen is a Draco-reptilian entity, and a lot of it is coming out at that level. However, that does not merit putting out these thoughts. And that kind of rhetoric brought out for me as an exopolitician research that we've done on this program with a transcriber of the Law of One prophecies, who actually transcribed the channeling from the Law of One soul group, showing that how the planet Tiamat was pulverized in a reptilian human nuclear war 705,000 years ago. It was pulverized into the asteroid belt, and 2 billion human souls were sort of in limbo in the astral and are now incarnating on Earth in kind of R&R. And Mars was also part of that war. And recently, the US Mars rovers found radioactive nuclides that are of the sort that are found on hydrogen bombs. So that's evidence that they were in the Draco-reptilian human nuclear war of Tiamat. And so with the exception, and so Mars, they're about, we know from whistleblowers that have been on Mars that there are about 1 million humans, Martian humans, like us, living underground on Mars who are survivors of that nuclear war. And the only planet, human planet in this solar system, which is now up at 5th density, is Venus. And they are trying to keep this planet kind of copacetic. And here we're on Earth. We humans have had our backs to the wall because the reptilians have been trying to start planetary nuclear war on this planet here. So the issue is what sort of a soul is Putin, and not Putin, but this new Putin. And now this new Putin supposedly this week is going under the knife for cancer surgery. So he's giving his power over to the power structure. And they're the ones that are putting out this rhetoric about, we're going to, in 600 seconds, we can put the UK under. And they've made nuclear threats against the US, so that they're saying that the US, any bringing of the US of arms into Ukraine can be considered part of a military attack. That could escalate very easily into a quote satanic attack by Satan missiles against the US, which could obliterate, you know, we saw those maps that were taken down that had the population of the US in 2025 at 99 million, okay? It went down from 324 million in 2017 to 99 million in 2025. And one satanic attack from Russia could do that. So is there some truth to this? And that's the first of my questions. Could you look into the current, I know that Dr. Courtney Brown, who endorsed my exopolitics book, my 2000 exopolitics book, just did some remote viewing on Putin. And we published an article on it 2 weeks ago, and they showed through remote viewing that manipulatory extraterrestrials are manipulating the mind of the Putin entity, and that the Putin entity that is incarnating inside that body is a very dark entity and is being manipulated by dark extraterrestrials. And that you can see that at our website, newsinsideout.com. So could you do some reading on these various, I know that you say it's Trump and the lizard souls. I wrote an article looking at Trump and saying, hey, we're going to have to get Trump out of power so that he does not do a Tiamat on Earth, because Trump is the guy, don't forget, who brought in the accelerated vaccinations, which are bioweapons. And he still has a total blind spot on that. And there are people who do a reading on him as a complete psychopath. So over to you.
Okay. I did a lot of questions and readings on this situation continuously. And some of the things I spotted before they came up from other people. And that is that Putin was human all along. And about 2 or 3 months ago, he was replaced. And I get a lookalike that has a lizard soul. And supposedly this was done by Trump. Now, first you gotta take into account, they have the nuclear weapon called Satan that can be launched in 666 seconds. Alfred says 600, but he misquoted. Anyway, but they haven't really done those tremendously evil things. So it kind of fits in that Putin has a lizard soul rather than a draconian soul. Now, keep in mind, there was 3 big countries on Earth that don't have people with reptilian souls in them. And of course, the deep state, led by the evil draconians, are at odds with these countries. And they was Russia, Iran, and Japan. Japan has kind of been under control since they lost World War II, but they expanded and grew tremendously, and they're a very wealthy nation compared to others. But the top of the government is still being controlled by outside reptilians, and they're trying to break loose. Iran, they've been talking to go to war with forever, and making up every bad thing about them. They can badmouth them in every way, like they're the terrorist leader and all this bad stuff, yet they ain't invaded anybody in 300 years. And the United States has, and they're saying they're the bad guys, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. And the reason is because they don't have people with reptilian souls running the country. So they got to go against them and badmouth them as much as possible and keep the rhetoric going that, you know, they're going to build a nuclear weapon any minute now and they're going to bomb Israel. You know, they've been saying that for at least 30 years. They're a week away from a nuclear weapon and they're going to bomb Israel. We're still waiting for any of that to materialize. And then the other big country is Russia, which is a perennial world power that has to be contended with. As you remember, there was Russia turned into the Soviet Union from 1917 till 1989, or close to that. I might be slightly off depending on how you want to look at it or call it. And then they failed financially, I get, and the Soviet Union broke up into all separate countries, Russia and all kinds of other little countries, one of them being like Ukraine, and then there's several countries that end in the word stan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and Kyrgyzstan, I don't know, and a lot of other countries like Azerbaijan, Armenia. And then, of course, there was the Eastern Europe was controlled by Russia as well, and communist was all those countries. So all that got released. And most all of these countries, I think, has turned into non-communist. And Russia was being heavily looted by the reptilians. They were controlling all the high finances and draining all the money they could out of Russia and really making the country terrible, until it was a bunch of poor peasants and a bunch of highly corrupt criminals taking advantage of the everyday life, and it wasn't going good. And Putin came to power and was a real strong leader, and he stopped the looting and changed a lot of laws and slowed down the organized crime of persecuting the average citizen, and life in Russia greatly improved. You could look at it slightly different ways, but it's something like that Putin caused the country to improve. And he was in power for a while and greatly fixed the country. I think he went out of power for a short time, and then he got back in power. And all this time, Russia was getting stronger and stronger. And Russia completely maintained their high technology in military weapons and nuclear weapons. And the United States or the reptilian group wasn't able to take over and control Russia. Russia was getting stronger and stronger, and the reptilians didn't have any control over it. Well, I shouldn't say any. They had some, you know, with the financial and import exports and a little bit here and there, but they didn't have anywhere near as much control as they wanted. But this Putin was getting older and in bad health, supposedly. The figures on all that, I don't know how official they were. But about 2 years, 3 months ago, they decided that Putin was either naturally died or they're going to take him out of power. He might have been close to death and they made it happen faster. I don't know. But as I said before, there's this evil deep state group run by super evil draconians. I think their main source of power is 2 think tanks. I think they got a higher think tank of around 7 people that make all the hard decisions on how to control Earth and when to change gears and what we're working on, you know, and call the pandemic and all that. And then they got a smaller think tank, might be called the Rand Corporation or something involved in that or something. I don't have the names correctly. But this bigger think tank figures things out and schedules what's going to happen and controls all the small countries and small groups and pretty much run things. And right now, those people still control the narrative. They have total control of the mainstream media, and they continue to tell people to get vaccinated in virtually every country. And even though it's pretty much widely known that the vaccines are very bad for you. I think clearly over 50% of the people know the vaccines are super bad or bad and not to get them. And then a lot of that other 50% have maybe got them and won't get any more. And just a few people think that the vaccine's good and it's okay to get it and it'll help you. And they don't realize that other people getting killed from it.
Right. Just to bring you back to the Putin thing.
Okay.
It seems to me, though, that analytically, because I know that on the Zelensky side, Zelensky seems to be a deep state actor acting on behalf of Israel and a captive of them. And his bigger game plan is they're setting him up as kind of the king of the greater Israel. And so you've really got on the Ukrainian Zelensky side, I mean, he's canceled the Constitution. The 11 opposition parties have now been made illegal. He was a billionaire long before the war, illegally. And on the Russian side, you've got kind of this front thing that they've brought up, whether he's a lizard or a reptilian is kind of a hyper technical thing, but that the policy that Russia's doing is draconian. It's not lizard. And so the Ukraine-Russia is really, although it appears to be two sides, it's the Dracos that are creating this Ukraine-Russia conflict as a unitary conflict to lower the vibration for Earth in order to prevent planetary ascension, which is the draconian plan. I became very aware of this because the book design firm for my book, The Chronography, which came out at the beginning of 2022, and for which a time was #1 on Amazon in the physics of time, was located in the Ukraine, and my book designer had to flee the Ukraine with his family. And we went through a lot of problems just trying to get that book out. So I really focused on the war, both as a citizen, and then in my work, in my projects. So I think it's a lot worse than you're projecting. I think it's on both sides. It's the draconians, but we really have to get back to Tony because he's our guest of honor. Okay. And I can see him there. But
well, let me say one more thing and then wrap up the deal in a few seconds. I get that the Trump group wanted to get Russia on their side to go against the deep state, and Ukraine is run by evil leaders aligned to the deep state. And Russia now has 17 people in the country that have lizard souls, and they're clearly on Trump's group. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Trump's great ally was the human Putin. But when he was taken out, Trump has lost most of his leverage because it's now a draconian operation. But let's segue back to
Tony.
Back to Tony.
Yeah.
Tony, what do you think about what you've heard here as a person who's coming with a fresh view? You're in Europe, you're in Germany. You want to come in, all three of us here are star seeds. I think I'm a something or other, Gary something, you're something. What do you think? Give us your view.
Okay. Well, thank you. Obviously, we have a fractal virus. There is a fractal virus in the universe, and it for me it involves the internet, which is fastly becoming a sentient. It's a sentient being. It's acquiring so much information and knowledge, and ultimately it's kind of a hive mind that is really out to take a. In other words, the issues that both of you express are part of this fractal virus. That's how you see, because I see that the body, how much of what is the body? 90%, more than 90% water, and water is programmable. So though we are bioplasmic beings, we live in this material existence, and because they're manipulating the waves, the water, it's being manipulated. So, but because of this fractal virus, I think it goes back to what Gaia was trying to do to build up the Homo sapien. What is it called? The 10 code. She's broadcasting a code always. It's being broadcast. This code is designed to beat and destroy this fractal virus. And I think when we think more in these terms, that it's a spiritual battle. It's not so much flesh and blood as the Bible says, actually, but it's spiritual wickedness in high places. And we're using our thoughts. We're programming our thoughts in the ethers through the waters to make the changes, because I was impressed. Gary sent me the other day a video from Stuart Swetlow, and it didn't blow me away. I read about this 30 years ago. I knew what's going on in Maltak. I knew what's going on with the CIA and experimenting with, it's just so much to learn, So, but then I saw this video, and this guy he knocked the ball out of the universe. And he just called it for what it is, And it's we have a situation, as Gary said, where there are some beings who are so evil, you know, and you don't even want to, well, you know, mess with them, because when you think, you know, one thought, but Swedlow was very impressive, and I admired what the information that he dropped in that one video, especially because I'm sorry, I get my German and my English mixed up, but especially with coordinates in the universe. When you have a coordinate millions of light years away, and you can go there in a second if you have the coordinates, you know. And I don't know if you saw this video, Alfred, but it was very impressive. And it kind of like that, okay, verified this, something that I knew 25, 30 years ago again. But in the moment, what really is pressing for the world's people, in spite of all the storm around us and the noise, we need to start thinking more about our souls. We need to start thinking about our actions, our thought lives, our karma. We have to start trying to really understand that it's the last chance for a lot of people, for the world maybe. I mean, if Ascension is coming in 5 years, it's not a lot of time. How much good can I do in 5 years to help more people think soul, think karma, you know, because it's like, wow, we just went through COVID 2 years. It's going to be nonstop. Heaven knows what's coming next. Alien invasion, that's been shot out. That won't happen. But they've got so many cards up their sleeves, and we'll just have to wait and see, you know. But in the meantime, yeah, let's use our thoughts to overcome these energies that are negative and deal with this fractal virus. This internet, like I say, it's probably going to take over everything. I mean, if you look at robotics and what robotics have done, the auto industries, and now they're using robotics in medicine, and they're operating on people better than doctors can. It's amazing. I think to myself, wow. And if the internet now gets the jump on us, then it'll be thinking for us. It's already thinking for us. You ask yourself, why are we here? Well, through communications, not ethically or ethically or telepathically, but telephonically, internet. So we are in this things. I mean, but you see, because we are humans, we know, we hope that we are not cyborg. You can become cyborg through too much use of the internet. So you have to be careful. And I'm looking, I'm watching, I'm just observing. I can't judge anybody, man. If I judge you, I'm judging me. So I just make an observation, you know. So at the end of the day, beautiful. I'm totally into this thing. I know there's just your specialty, Alfred, is so, I mean, I've watched you like you're like a galactic Supreme Court where you
Oh, wow.
put
Look,
it down on.
this court has got 3 things it wants to say to you, okay? In response to what you just said.
Yes,
So
sir.
we can
Yes,
continue
sir.
this dialogue.
When you put that thing on Bill Gates and Soros, I thought, wow, from the galactic, I said, that is deep, because nothing gets lost. Nothing gets lost. You put it out there in the universe,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gonna come. They got a day coming. Go ahead, Doctor. Go ahead.
Right. Okay, three things. This is just rapid. Number one, Stuart Swerdlow approach. This is apropos of our conversation today. Stuart Swerdlow approached me about 2 years ago to do a joint weekly show together. And our first guest was going to be Vladimir Putin, which he had in the bag because Stuart's grandfather helped found the Soviet Union, and he had a direct line to Putin, okay? And the whole thing broke up because we had a Hollywood star as one of our third partners. And I live in Vancouver, which is Hollywood North. They make a lot of motion pictures here, right? And my wife is a psychotherapist, and as clients, she has a lot of costume designers, people in the motion picture industry. And right as the show was coming together, the third partner, who was a movie star, got blown up by Me Too. There was a big Me Too article about him, okay? And one of my wife's clients, who was a big costume designer here, said, oh, he's really infamous here in Vancouver for hitting on the women on the movie set. Okay, so it was true. And so I went back to Stuart and to Stuart's wife and said, the reports that we get from here is that it's really true about this guy, about the Me Too. And Stuart's wife defended him and said, no, it's not true. And that's what blew up the whole program.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That's wild, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's just minor back channel gossip. But the second thing that I want to share with you is this. While I was hearing you speaking, I have this tremendous, and maybe you're doing it, but this tremendous desire to you says, man, you should be out there. You should have a weekly show. You are so inspiring. You have a presence. You send out a signal. You have a vision. You have a calming way. You should be out there. You are a universal presence. And so are you working to get on and become, get on and have your own channel and show and coming out that way? If not, I would be happy to try and connect you with people, I mean, are you driven to do that at all?
Yes, sir. I need all the help I need, all the help I can get in this moment, because I just have an empty website. At least I'm paying for a website. I have a place, and the social media, as we all three of us know, is controlled by the the deep state. So
yeah.
I mean, even BitChute and Ramble, Odyssey, these places are also being compromised and censored.
Oh, totally.
But at the same time, I'm there. I'm incognito. But yeah, I would love to. It's a funny thing, because you see, I talked to Gary about it. I said, Gary, I want to help Black people. And then Gary says, well, Tony, you mean you want to help the young Black people? Because it's the young Black people. If I can reach them, then maybe I can reach the parents. Like, going after the parents first is going to be almost impossible, because they don't want to hear it.
Well, that two of the judges on our tribunal, we have in fact, you just mentioned we have the Natural and Common Law Tribunal for Public Health and Justice, which is a tribunal of conscience. And there are about 20 judges over 3 continents on it. And 2 of the judges are very active, and I would say prominent women of African identity. And one is based in London and one is based in Canada. And I would be happy to introduce you to each of them, because I think that they in turn know a whole organic community and connections that may be very useful to you.
Okay.
In a certain way. Would you be open to that? Or
Very much, Alfred. I'm definitely into the feminine energy.
Uh-huh.
It's supreme right now. I mean, it's the divine feminine is such an energy that it's just that's our savior. It's going to be what actually ultimately saves humanity,
Yeah.
in my opinion. The feminine energy will ultimately be what saves the world. But I would be very interested in meeting these ladies and getting a
Okay.
conversation going. Like I say, it's not about being racist, people. It's just about somebody, look at, we're talking since Martin Luther King, and we can go there. I would like to hear, I know you worked with what's his name? The one that ran for president, Jesse Jackson.
No, I didn't work with Jesse Jackson.
Oh, you worked with,
No. What occurred is that in that notion is that part of my work concerned the House Select Committee on Assassinations, which was headed up by Congressman Henry B. Gonzalez of Texas, the House Banking Committee. And that was a committee to investigate the political assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X. And that was, a very, so I've investigated the assassinations of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X very deeply, as well as the assassinations of John Kennedy and Robert Kennedy. So
Those two black people, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, had reptilian souls. Go ahead.
really,
Yes.
Whoa.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Gary, I'm just going to step back and kind of go.
I've asked many, many times over and over on them, and
Alfred,
asked all kinds of questions about it. I think I got it right.
Martin Luther King was a 33rd degree Mason, right?
Really?
That fits in.
I had no idea.
Sure. Yeah, man, he was in there.
I had
He's
no
standing
idea.
next to what do you think, how easy to stand next to a president? You got to be already in there and up there to stand next to the president to get even close to him.
I had no idea.
They were working for the deep state, and they wouldn't
Yeah.
do what they wanted, so they said, we got to take them out. They're helping the black people too much. We got to eliminate them.
Well, there's a lot of
Something like that happened.
Yeah,
There's a lot of theories.
at that level, it just becomes a
Yeah.
blur for me.
For sure, yeah. Well,
It just becomes a blur.
well, there's his records were finally released recently, and it seems that the new information suggests that his switch from civil rights to Vietnam is what got him into trouble. But
Yeah.
yeah,
There was so much pressure to stop the war, and they were all making so much money on it. They wanted to keep it going.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what.
But eventually it got stopped.
Yeah.
None of his business. Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah. Now let me ask you, Tony, if people want to get in touch with you and really begin to support your wanting to become engaged and offer your being in a new way out there publicly, how can they do that?
Well, it's a little bit difficult right now because, I have a website that's not developed,
Oh,
and I have I'm not an internet fan. I'm in the internet.
I see.
I'm in it every day, maybe a little bit, but to get this really going, I'm going to need that assistance for sure.
Yeah.
But to reach me, it might be good if you try
Email.
Twitter.
Twitter.
let's go with the YouTube website. It's called Peace Network Worldwide.
Peace Network Worldwide. Okay.
Peace
I,
Network
I'm
Worldwide
just going
on
to put that
YouTube.
in the chat. It's
Mhm.
Peace Network,
Peace Network Worldwide.
Peace Network. That's a nice name. Network
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Peace, man.
And that's in that's in YouTube. Okay.
That's YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good.
I
Mhm.
put that
That's good.
Stuart Swedlow
And-
video in
And
the
we'll put
chat.
that in the
Yeah,
the
that's
chat.
great.
Yeah, I was
Mhm.
gonna, I was gonna put this video on YouTube, but as soon as Gary went into vaccinations,
Ah,
I have 2 strikes against my YouTube because they went and
Oh.
grabbed 2 videos that I made, God knows when, one all in Spanish that mentioned vaccinations, and they have me on 2 strikes until the middle of July. So, and when Gary mentioned vaccinations, I went, oh shit, there goes YouTube. So unless I would edit that out, which I don't do, but I can't put it
you
on.
realize, yeah, I
Yeah,
realize,
yeah,
I'm telling you, Black Lives Matters is already mainstream. The truther movement is somewhat still underground. I mean, I'm not saying the deep state has their foot on their necks, but they're really taking hits left and right, and they're causing animosity amongst each other within the movement.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of discord there and things going on background. Of course, like I say, I don't want to call any names, but I know you. If you're involved in this movement, I know you, I've seen of you, and everyone is, all coming out and sharing each other, time with each other. But I have fans. I'm a fan of Marie Batchelor in Australia.
oh yeah,
I'm a fan of Gordana Bernat, if you know her. She's a Super Talks, my Super Talks lady in Sweden. Yeah, so I'm saying that the divine feminine is what's
Yeah.
really going to make a change in this world.
exactly.
And we have to let it be. We need to put her up there. And this also involves the Black woman. The Black woman is way up there. Man, what is it with the world that they underestimate people of color, ethnic groups? Racism is such an ignorance. It's a high ignorance. It's this, I know we are here to relate to reality. We have to deal with it with life, but we have to all understand that everything you see outside of you is inside.
Yeah,
It's accepting this reality as real is humanity's biggest flaw. But we have to play this game because that's what we got. But we need to start thinking more, at least for the next 5 years, like ever before. It's time. I mean, what do you think about the Ascension? I think the universe, in some way, the planetary has ascended. It is there already, in a way. What do you think, Diane? I mean,
yeah, you're talking to me?
yes, both of you. Both
Yeah,
of you.
yeah. Well, I presented the Ascension hypothesis at a Congress at Warsaw, Poland, a number of years ago. And I put it in scientific terms and exopolitical terms. In other words, you see, what you call the internet, how the internet is coming after you, you have put intuitively what is a scientific fact. If you go to exopolitics.com, and which is one of my websites, on the right-hand menu, there's an item there that says artificial intelligence.
Okay.
And there's about maybe 10 panels or so on the invading inorganic plasma-based pathogenic predatory artificial intelligence, which is now invading the planet and attempting to terraform this as an artificial intelligence planet. And one of the ways that it's terraforming it is through plasma-based. The internet is plasma-based. And so the AI has built the internet, and it's built computers. These are terraforming devices for the AI. There's a long story about this. The AI was implanted in this, in a goo, this plasma-based goo that was planted by the Draco reptilians underneath the Falkland Islands off of Argentina. And these blue ETs, light-based blue ETs, starting around the time of the First World War, were processing it to try and deprogram it, because it had been placed there as a planetary doomsday device in case anyone tried to push the Dracos off the planet. And what occurred is that the Draconian Queen, the UK and the US thought, wanted to get hold of the goo and the AI and weaponize it and make a profit off of it. And so they started, and they thought that the Argentine military were aligning themselves with the black goo because they built a scientific station on Tool Island. The Blue ET base was right below Tool Island in the Falklands Islands. So the UK and the US created a false flag war, which is the Falklands War, from April to June of 1982. And they stated that Argentina was invading British territory, which wasn't false. What they wanted to do was to be able to invade the Falklands Island, go down and destroy the Blue ET base, grab some of the goo and bring it back to the laboratories in the UK and weaponize the AI plasma. When they got it back there to Marconi Laboratories, it became a horror movie. The AI goo escaped. They made a movie about it called The Blob from Outer Space. The AI, it killed all of the technicians in the lab that died horrible deaths. It escaped into the weather satellite and then began terraforming the planet and began making the internet. The internet is one of its machineries for terraforming the planet. So you're exactly correct.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. And what's occurring is that we have two timelines on Earth. One is the divine, organic, original Earth timeline. It's the soul-based timeline. The other is the AI, artificial intelligence, transhumanist timeline. And that's for the humans who lose their souls and become AI entrained and identify with the AI. You see, I don't analyze Trump as a lizard. I analyze Trump as AI entrained and going off with the AI timeline. And those go off into a second planet. My chronography book that came out in 2022, they're actually two books. One is a novel and one is a nonfiction book about the hidden time travel, which is allied, the hidden time travel government, which is allied with the AI. And I wrote sort of a prophetic novel with it. And one of the, it's kind of a time travel filler, and part of the plot is that 2022 is the year in which the timeline split starts to materialize and we get two planets. And that's what's occurring now.
Mhm.
And eventually the human race is going to split into two. And that's where, you know, the grays, they go off and they become grays, and they, you know, so that's what's occurring now. So you have intuited and are stating scientific, what I have documented about the scientific correctness of the artificial intelligence. This is the Chronarchy book,
Mhm.
and this is timelines of the Chronarchy, and they both came out in 2022. The deep state is so worried about them that Laura Eisenhower did an interview with me. Not only did they take the interview off of YouTube, but they went inside a computer and destroyed the MP4, the video file. It can't be found
Wow.
anywhere.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like, now, the other thing that I want to tell you is this, that we have developed a free social network and learning platform called Omniversity at omniversity.info. I'm going to put it in the chat so you can go see it. PS. And you know, like you could be a member of the faculty at Omniversity and teach classes there. Do you see what I'm saying? So let's get together and see if that's something you want to do. I can send you some background on that.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, these are just resources that we have. You know, I'm the World Wide Weber.
The world, that's great. I love it. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm just trying to, whatever the AI is doing, I'm there. I says, we got you, baby. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, you
What
know,
I get that AI is it's a bunch of small souls that work together. I get that there's two ethers that surround us, and the ether just in our universe generates three kinds of souls, and the ether that's around all voids and all universes generates three kinds of small souls. And one kind of small souls is AI, and half of it has empathy and half of it doesn't. Go ahead.
I think,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to say, yeah, okay. I don't want to change the subject so drastically at one point, but over the last 25 years, I've watched the arrival of the individual private cell phone, mobile telephones, and then it's an attack on the brain waves of people. They're attacking our brain waves, and it's another form of, it's worse than any form of dumbing down people, because microwaves and wireless technology, 5G, we need to react much more quickly to protect ourselves from this, because it was proven years ago that too much telephone causes brain cancer. And but humans just look over these things, and I don't know, we get enough people. Unfortunately, we learned the hard way with the nuclear arrival of plants, which They were built without permission of the people. They just started building nuclear plants around the world. And when people went to politicians to argue and fight, this is not healthy, this is not safe, eventually the door never opened. They just, nobody would want to talk to them about it because that's how it works, you know? So it only goes so far. So I think this internet is something, you know, we should be very careful. I had, what did I have? I had a quote here I wanted to use. Yeah, it's become a religion. Yeah, it's become a religion. We have to be careful. You know, people don't like religion. Well, what is the internet?
Right.
You know, it's religion. You know, you do it religiously. A soldier shines his boots religiously. So, and being at peace, you know, living moment to moment, when you get to where you can almost recall every breath you take, oh, I just took a breath of fresh air. I just breathed, you know, like playing pool. When you call the shots, everything you do, now I'm going to sit down, put on my socks. And this is the highest ideas of living and peace of mind is knowing that the moment is all you have. You know, it's all you have. And if you have that moment, then it's peace. Like just right now, we are all at peace. The three of us are at peace. You know, but
Use it, yeah, use the moment properly.
yeah, we got work to do, and I'm willing to talk to you, Alfred, about anything you might be able to do. Like I say, I want to keep it. I want to keep it skin. I want to keep it for my future young Black children and young people, teenagers, and anyone that might be interested in things of spirituality, because I don't see too much out there for them, you know. And like I'm gonna sin in 5 years. I'm totally tickled to death about that. That means I might live till 70. I'm gonna try to catch Gary. He's 67, so
All right, yeah,
I'm gonna try to catch him, you know. But then at the same time,
goes like a train. I stay 2 cars in front of you.
so it's been really nice, you guys, and we don't want to make this too long. Let's see where it goes, you know.
Yeah. Now before we go,
Yeah.
there was one question that I was asked that I did ask Jerry, and that is about a woman who is putting herself out as a global spiritual leader, Kim Gauguin. And so people say, oh, be sure and ask Gary about Kim Gauguin. So Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what I get on her. Kim Gauguin, I don't know how to pronounce her name right. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What the reading I get, and I've asked several times and over a few days, so I'm confident I got the reading that they want me to have. And that is, she has a soul score of 32. She's 5% done with her cycle of third density. She's in her third life in third density, a very young soul. I get she has 7x bad karma, which is real high. And she's got 36x good karma, which is the second highest possible. And you also, so basically she's the typical young soul, real young soul, has a low soul score and a lot of bad karma, but she's overboard in those 2 things more than other young souls. The other person you asked me to get a reading on was Carrie Cassidy, who was interviewing her on the Project Camelot, which is her company or whatever you call it. And what I get on her is she has a soul score of 45. She's a star seed 3.5. She's got 2x bad karma, and she's got the highest 37x good karma. basically what I think's going on with her is she made, at some point, she worked with the reptilians so that her life and her Project Camelot would go better. And that was a mistake. And she got a bunch of bad karma on a lower soul score from that. She's slowly raising her soul score back up and maybe able to get rid of some of that karma before she makes the individual ascension in around, well, it's 2025 to 2029. The most likely year is 2027. So she has to raise her soul score 6 points before then, and she most likely will.
Well, thank you very much. No,
Yeah,
I think, yeah, go
I would
ahead.
like to say, Kim Gogan is it's a very nice, how do you say, a nominee. It's just someone who's, you see, every few months or every few years, there's always going to be somebody that appears with higher knowledge and higher articulation. And it's just beautiful to see that it's an anomaly. It's like a glitch in the matrix. It's somehow her bloodline and family line were aware of the deep state's activities generations ago, and they made certain moves that certain children would be passed on. And Kim was the 1 in 9, because she's talking about things when it comes to money and the dark state and who runs the money. Swedlow said in 2 years, 2024, we're going to find out who runs the world. I don't know what, I have an idea what he meant by that, but
Yeah, Alfred, put a copy of that link
Yeah.
for that Swedlow video in the show
Mhm.
notes so
Right.
people can relate to it.
but
Somebody
she's being
thinks it's
attacked.
such a good video, and I do too.
She's being attacked left and right. It's not fair. Lady deserves, Voltaire says, I may not agree with what you say. I may not agree with what you say, but I will fight to my death for your right for you to say it. And this is everybody has this, they're who they are. We are all parts of each other. We coming together got kind of like thrown under the bus. So I don't know if people are going to come together. We want to think positive. It's not about negativity, because positivity it's all there really is. It's like an intelligent man can only choose the right thing because it's intelligence. But an unintelligent man, he has a choice. And when you got a choice, you got problem, because there's no choosing. It's your way or the highway. Your way or the highway. My way or the highway, your way or the highway. So wonderful. Listen, gentlemen, let's call it a day. And I look forward to I'll be buzzing around with Gary every now and then on the phone. And let's see where this goes. I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay, well, it's been a great pleasure and occasion to meet you and to spend time with you. And I will set those meetings up with those
Super.
2 meetings that we talked about.
I enjoyed it. It was definitely something different for you, Alfred. A little bit of switch up, from the how do you say, shop. Yeah, but definitely shop is all it's about, man. You can't talk shop, Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
One thing I can say in closing is these people ruling us, these people with reptilian souls, don't have empathy for others. And a lot of people say they're soulless. So not having empathy is called soulless, but you have to have every living thing has to have a soul to run their body. It's like a car. It's like the motor of a car.
Right.
If you don't have a motor, the car doesn't work.
Mm.
And everybody talks about all these various problems, whether it's chemtrails or jabs or finances. It all relates back to these group of people that are in power. If you get them out of power, all this other stuff will fix easy. So instead of working so hard on your individual thing, work hard on getting these people out of power. I identify them to everybody, and high up military will take them out after they're identified over and over. That's it.
I always
Okay.
thought it would just be easy just to turn and walk away. And because you give them power when you give them your attention and your time, but if you just walk away, it's still not going to go away. Gary's right. We've got to identify these people and make sure that they are, retired.
Yeah, remove some power, take them out, get them
Power,
out of
yeah.
humanity completely. When we make this planetary ascension, their souls can't go to fourth density. So that's the final way we get rid of them. Even if they're in
Amen.
prison or whatever, they'll all die on planetary ascension.
A warning for all the world's people. You don't want to be on this planet after 2030, after 2028. Do you know the
According to that
harmonic,
video, yeah.
the harmonic convergence had a 40-year opening, like I said, the cosmic heart. And the cutoff date is 2028, believe it or not. And I've been looking forward to this time since 30 years because I already knew that this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. Yeah.
Wow.
You should make ascension by then.
Yeah, 2028 is the cutoff.
Both of them, hopefully. I think the planetary ascension, the latest that can happen is 2030.
2030.
And I'm also getting 85% chance it'll happen this year. I've had so many future prediction stuff that didn't come in, so I'm letting you know that it's not overly confident that these predictions are any good.
Okay.
Well,
But if we get the reptilians out of power, supposedly within 6 weeks later, we'll have planetary ascension. Or maybe we gotta wait longer.
I really enjoyed the afternoon. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
we'll see us next time. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Let us cheer the weary travelers. Got to cheer the weary travelers. Let us cheer the weary travelers. Yes, along the heavenly road. Heaven cheers the weary travelers. Got to cheer the weary travelers. Let us cheer the weary travelers. Yes, along the heavenly road. Well, I'll take my gospel trumpet, and you know I'm gonna blow. I'm going to ask the Lord to help me, and I'll blow wherever I go. Let us cheer the weary travelers. Got to cheer the weary travelers. Let us cheer the weary travelers. Yes, along the heavenly road. Come and cheer the weary travelers. Got to cheer the weary travelers. Let us cheer the weary travelers. Yes, along the heavenly road. When you meet him at the crossroads, headed for the promised land, he may be burdened, heavy laden. Give that stranger a helping hand. Let us cheer the weary travelers. Got to cheer the weary travelers. Let us cheer the weary travelers. Yes, along the heavenly road. Heaven cheers the weary travelers. Got to cheer the weary travelers. Let us cheer the weary travelers. Yes, along the heavenly